Hello there, Lollygaggers. Ooh, it is playoff time in the NFL. We're going to talk about that. We're going to hop back into the time capsule now that we're back to all Lollygaggers on the show. So we are, of course, Lollygagging Sports. I'm Bo Reed, along with Samantha Bunten and Matthew Irby. And Samantha, before we get going, welcome back. This is your first show of 2023.
Thank you.
We may or may not have floated the idea that you were on your bye week because you were the top seeded Lollygagger.
Oh,
just gonna throw that out there. That was part.
I mean, I would say thank you, but I was actually absent because I was like deathly ill after having returned from vacation. So there's probably not the top seed in anything at that point. But you know.
Well, see, we didn't want to tell people that. I mean, you got this aura of like, you know, superhuman thing. So
superhuman
thing. Like, I don't know what to call it. Is it a quality?
I hate to dispel that. I feel like guess what, guys? I was deathly ill and ruined our vacation. Because my husband and I were both like half dead in Paris for several days, and then we had to figure out how to get home. So that was fun.
Oh, yikes! Well, regardless, welcome back. Welcome back to the program. All right, so before we get into the NFL playoffs, I had to talk to you guys about what the hell's going on in this whole Carlos Correa soap opera. We now have official word that he has passed his physical with the Twins. We have that has been. In fact, the Mets even put out a hilarious statement. This little two-liner. About how they couldn't come to an agreement with Carlos, but they wished him well. The whole thing, Samantha, I got to tell you, the whole thing, it reeks of someone changed their Facebook status and didn't tell the other person until like today. Now today they've sorted it out. I was expecting it's complicated, but now they appear to have sorted it out between Correa and the Twins.
I mean, is this what happens when you think you have two girlfriends or something, and you think you're being clever, and you think that one doesn't know about the other, and maybe they don't, and then they both Facebook request you. I mean, obviously this is all happening like 2008 or something, like who's even on Facebook anymore, but like, and then they both request you, and then you don't know what to do, because you kind of can't say yes to either one, because if you do, then the other one would see it. But you can't say no, because then there's going to be questions about that. So it's complicated. I don't know. Or maybe if you're Carlos Correa, you're just, I mean, you just go back to the Twins, because, you know, the Twins are like, it's all right if you're dating 17 other people. We don't mind. We don't mind if you're missing a leg. We don't mind if you give us an X-ray of someone's German Shepherd and say that that's your leg. It's cool.
See, I'm glad you went that way, because what makes this even hilarious, or more hilarious, is you've got the Twins, who are the steady relationship. And I guess that makes the Giants and the Mets the side pieces. Something I never thought I'd say on this show, the word, the phrase side piece, but here we are.
Sort of. But aren't the Twins everyone's side piece? I mean, isn't that the whole thing with them, right? They keep getting used as like the third party, and they're like the girl that you go out with to make the girl that you really want jealous, and then you just ditch her, but then the good one dumped you, so you have to go back to the one that you didn't really want in the first place. I feel like that's what happened here. Where it backfires, you're like, I'm going to go out with this other girl, or this other guy. I'll try to be fair and equal about this. Other person, I'm trying to, so you think, oh, well, I'll just use them, because this is the Twins' like lot in life, right? They're getting used in other people's trades. But then the other one figured it out and was like, guess what? I don't want you anymore. And then now you're married to the Twins. Now you have to propose to the Twins because you're out of options. Like, it's a rough way to go, man. It's like, now I have to propose to the one I never wanted in the first place. This analogy is getting really rough.
It's getting rough. Let me tell you something, though. It's actually spot on accurate. because the Twins definitely, by just ignoring what, not one, but two Major League Baseball teams saw in a physical and saying, no, we're going to sign you anyway. That just reeks of the desperation, like the desperate move from the particular type of woman you're talking about here. It reeks of that. I'm just glad they came to an agreement before we had a fatal attraction situation. I mean, this is this is getting nuts.
Okay. So maybe this is more like, okay, so like the last boyfriend is like, she's crazy. Don't go out with her. Like, she's legitimately crazy. And then the second to last boyfriend also says, don't go out with her. She's legitimately crazy. And the Twins are like, but she'll change for me. Like, it's that. That's what it is. I just figured it out. It's that. It's the I can fix her.
I can fix her.
I know she's just like flipping nuts, but like I can fix her. Like, oh, right? Like she tried to burn down the house of her last boyfriend, but I'm sure she'll be super sane and normal with me. I mean, people have made this error, and I mean, wouldn't the Twins be the ones to? Oh, yeah. Because they're so desperate. Or they don't care if she's crazy. Like, whatever, man. Like, we're just trying to pretend like we're doing something. Like, we're not going to get, like, completely destroyed by the Deans again this year. But we have a crazy girlfriend, so.
Let's bring Irby in on this conversation. I don't know where you want to jump in on this one, Herbs. There was a lot that just transpired in the last couple of minutes, but wherever you want to jump in, just go right ahead.
Yeah, I have notes. I have notes. So first of all, Samantha, you were worried about the analogy there. No, you're spot on. I'm hearing you explain it that way. I'm pretty confident. My wife and I watched that Hallmark Christmas movie just like that, where the side piece girl's the one that ends up getting the glass slipper. Pretty confident we watched that one.
Oh, they put those out there so that all of the girls who are not marriage material will think that they are marriage material.
And that's the Twins. The Twins are the Hallmark of Christmas movies.
Lifetime.
This one is I'll start with Carlos. I love Carlos, how it's the quotes that are coming in from all this about how this was so difficult. And this was tough, but at the end, he's in a place where he's happy and where he feels at home. And I'm like, bro, aren't you the one that like tried to set fire to this house when you left for college, and now you come back a few months later, you're like, hey, I'm back. Like you're the one that middle fingered these guys walking out the door. So that's fun. That'll be fun to hear the clubhouse. Twins president Derek Falvey has an amazing quote on this. I'll just say it and let y'all respond. We tried to come up with a creative solution that would work for us and ultimately for Carlos and find that overlap. And we did that.
Yeah, Samantha, I will give him credit for this. They did get creative because this is the first. This is a really weird thing that they've done at the end of this deal, which is their vesting option. But that's okay if he doesn't reach the vesting option because the team has options they can just put out there whether his options vest or not. That just seems a little weird to me. That you've got one without the other.
One of those things where somebody just decided put more words in. It will sound very official if you just add words to it.
Thank you.
But I mean, God. Yeah, like what is
like
that
what's creative about? Well, no, that's the thing that's killing me is like I don't think Derek understands medicine. Like the injury concern is now, but you guys are going to pay him. What is he getting? Like 36 million, 35 million the first couple of years, and then it tapers off pretty significantly. And it's like, well, yeah, he has a 4 years that can vest for 70 million. It's like, you paid him 200 million over. Credit to Boris, man. He could have a German Shepherd and probably get him $200 million in this league because this is.
Don't you just feel like at some point Scott put the Twins on speakerphone just so all the other agents in the room could hear the conversation, and like he would just casually mute to, hey guys, watch this, or I bet you I can't get this, and they have like a little side bet. They've got some bets going on at the table, the conference table. I'm just envisioning a circular table where everyone's just placing bets on what Scott can get into this deal, and they end up getting everything into this deal. Samantha, that's what this feels like.
Oh yeah, like he was like Boris was like, gather around, children. Let me show you how this is done.
Exactly.
Let's see how much money we can get out of here's how you sell a player who other people are like, oh my goodness, something is very, very wrong medically with this person, bad enough to where we're going to like renege on a deal in the middle of it. And then there's Boris being like, I'll show you how to get a contract. You just call the Twins. You say some weird stuff. You add some extra words. And Derek Falvey is like, I'm feeling creative today. Let's give this guy $40 million when his leg is probably going to fall off in a couple of months. We don't even know if he has a leg. Does he have a leg?
I don't know, but apparently...
I don't know.
Apparently, because he hasn't had any problems out of this ankle in the last year, everything's okay. He's not going to have a problem. He doesn't understand where the concerns are coming from, even though it's right there in the images of his ankle. It's right there, apparently, because two teams saw it. And let's be honest here, the Mets haven't exactly shown a willingness to be frugal this offseason.
Yes. Thank you.
There it is. There it is.
So even they took a look at this Kmart blue light special and said no.
Yeah, if the Mets don't want to give you money, like something is very wrong. Like I think we've established that the Mets will give money to anyone. Like it. I mean, again, like does he still have a leg? Still have a leg. I don't know.
Questions.
I'm really not sure.
Well, maybe that's the creative part that Derek Falvey's talking about, because they never talk about Carlos on the field playing. You know, we signed him for this. We're never going to play him, but we signed him. That's the creative act. We're paying him all this money he's never going to play.
There's the German Shepherd. We have attached the leg of a German Shepherd to this baseball player. Let's see what happens. Gosh.
Oh, man.
Now it's becoming a Disney movie from the 90s.
You know what? I wish we had time to go into which Disney movie this could be, because that sounds like fun. We're going to have to...
Well, but that's the beautiful thing, though. We have time, because he hasn't even started the contract yet. Like, we get to see this play out. We got lots of time. We got lots of time.
I'm in on the show this week, but you're right. And, you know, let's just put a pin in that, because that sounds like something we could talk about in Sports Siberia, also known as February. So, you know, we'll just put a pin in that.
Oh, he might be on like 6 more teams by then.
That's a good point.
We have loads of time. Like, we don't even know that this is the last stop. I mean, why would it be?
I'm waiting for him to demand a trade in spring training. That's what I'm waiting on.
You said the Boris thing. The Boris thing, there may be an opt-out in spring training.
If there is an agent that could get a spring training opt-out in the first year of a contract, it's Scott Boras. And the team that he would get it from is more than likely the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah. Like we're laughing at it, but you guys both know, and everyone listening, you know, deep down, you're like, there's a chance. There's definitely a chance.
I mean, why not? Why not?
Why not, indeed. All right, well, let's move on. We've got some playoff football to talk about. So obviously, Samantha, we've got 6 wild card matchups here in the Super Wild Card weekend that spans from Saturday into Monday night. We're not going to talk about all 6 matchups. We're only going to talk about 3 of them, but we do think these are the 3 that are going to be the most interesting of the matchups. So let's start with Seattle is traveling to San Francisco. It's the 3rd time, Samantha, these teams have played each other. History says, you know, that 3rd time is the most difficult one to win. How much of a concern is the fact that they're playing for the 3rd time for the 49ers, playing the Seahawks for that 3rd time? Is there any concern for you at all there?
Well, I mean, I would never say there's no concern for me there. because they're divisional rivals. They're going to play each other tougher every time. They know each other better. But usually when we're worried about that third go-round, we're talking more about a situation where, like, okay, let's take some teams from this year. Let's take Philadelphia and Dallas. And let's say that, hypothetically, that Philadelphia beat Dallas both times when they met in the regular season. If I were Philly, I'd be really worried going up against Dallas in the playoffs under those circumstances.
Right.
I'm not sure that applies here. I mean, San Francisco, you can make an argument they're the best team in the NFC, and you can probably make an argument that Seattle is the worst team to make it in. So I'm not as concerned about it as I would be if we were talking about even, like, I don't know, take the Chiefs and the Chargers. You know, Chiefs beat the Chargers twice in the regular season. Would you be worried about a meeting there? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely you would. But, like, I mean, you're talking about opposite ends of the playoff spectrum, right? It's this
yeah,
top-tier Super Bowl contender versus guys who got in because the whole conference was a mess this year. In fact, the entire sport was a mess this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of were the last man standing. So, yeah, I would never say zero concern under the circumstances, because by definition, to have played someone 3 times has got to be a divisional opponent. It's always a little rougher. But, I mean, if we're talking relative to the whole third time issue, this is probably one of the less concerning scenarios if you're San Francisco.
Irby, how about you? What are your thoughts on a third date between the 49ers and the Seahawks?
Well, and these are two teams that this is, third time, and there's some good history between these two over the last just couple of years of doing this. I mean, like we saw a couple of years ago, it was, 1 inch was the difference between these two. And Seattle looked, man, it's tough. Like Seattle looked better in that week when these two played. The outlying factor, I'm going to stick with positive Seattle first. Seattle closed the gap. They only lost by 8. It wasn't a game that they were ever really in. It was one of those weird games where it's like San Francisco couldn't get the KO punch. They were leading by 2 scores the whole way. Seattle scores with like 3 minutes to go, kicks it off, and then the Niners drive for 3.5 minutes and run the clock out over, 80 yards. But it was a game that ever felt like San Francisco could put them away, and that's where you get the confidence of Seattle. It was a game played up in Washington, so this time you've got to go to California. And so playing in that environment is not going to be easy. This is definitely a road game for Seattle, and it's when they played back in Week 15, it was one where the Niners actually, it was a road game for them. We've seen a lot of their games recently, especially against the Vegas and Arizona, where they were playing home games on the road. The Arizona, obviously the one earlier when they were in Mexico. It was these road games where they had the crowd advantage. And so this was not one. And it's the Niners since December and this 10-game winning streak they've had. In these last 6, they've scored 30-plus points in every game except for the Seattle game. Now, here's the positive for San Francisco. That was a short week. That was in Seattle. That was against a team that you've had, there's a long history of close matchups. And aside from that close matchups, you can chalk it up to you're at home and you've got a full week rest. A short week going to Seattle is never an easy conversation, doesn't matter who you are. Brock Purdy, my gosh, who would have thought, who saw this coming? Mr. Irrelevant to Mr. Relevant there in San Francisco. So the way the Niners are playing, how things are going for them right now, this is a feel of, it's kind of how we all talked about with the college football playoffs with Georgia. It's if Georgia can beat themselves. And they almost did that against Ohio State, but they end up winning that. This has that similar feel. The Niners can absolutely lose this game to Seattle. Seattle with Geno Smith, Tyler Lockett, the way Seattle's defense can make plays, the Seahawks absolutely can put themselves in a position to win this game. Now, if the Niners can play their game and their defense shows up and does what they've been doing, San Francisco should win this and win this by 10. But, man, should goes a long way, and it doesn't really mean anything at this point. Now you got to go out and do it.
Well, okay, let's take it this way then, Samantha, because I mean, the 49ers, let's be honest, are on their 10th quarterback of the season. I'm exaggerating, of course. I know how many they've had, but it seems like they're on their 10th quarterback of the season. How can Seattle pull off the upset? What does Seattle have to do?
Well, I mean, let's see. This is going to be tough.
I believe in you.
All right, I think you kind of have to let go of the idea that you're going to outsmart somebody, which is often how these kinds of teams get somebody. Because, I have a lot of respect for Pete Carroll, or at least I have a lot more respect for Pete Carroll now than I did 10 years ago. But he's not going to outsmart Kyle Shanahan. So you have to throw that one out. And I think you kind of have to recognize that, a week ago, you were in a situation where, you barely beat the Baker Mayfield-led Rams. That, yikes. So, To me, some of it is about the fact that San Francisco, particularly when facing divisional opponents, and this is certainly true in the last matchup with Seattle, doesn't seem to be able to score at will. So this is a team that theoretically ought to be able to put a lot of points on the board and often doesn't do that. They have a lot of low-scoring, close games. So if you can keep it close, then all you need is one break, right? You just need somebody to make a big play. So if you can keep it within one score, you can get all the way to halftime, and you're only down a touchdown, or we'll be generous and say a touchdown and a field goal, then San Francisco, because they're not necessarily a team that's built to run the score up on you, at least not as they are currently constituted, then you can hang around, and then all you need is a big play. Right, and they're capable of doing that. Seattle has shown that they're capable of doing that, and all of a sudden, and you're in a tie game pretty quickly, and then it's anybody's game at that point. And I think that you can take advantage of the fact that I don't remember what the line was on this game, but it's not small. So if you're, an 11-point underdog or whatever it was, and
9.5,
9.5, jeez. 9.5-point underdog, and you can get into the middle of the fourth quarter and you're tied or you're down 3 or whatever, then why not? I think the kind of momentum swing just by being able to hang around might be the thing that would do it, because matchup-wise, there's just not a good direction to go here where you can say, well, this can overpower this, because on paper, that's not the case. But if you can keep it close, anything can happen. And I do think, for the record, that Pete Carroll is still, even at his age, an outstanding motivator, the kind of guy who can get that last ounce out of you when it matters. And maybe if you're Seattle, that could be the difference maker.
All right, Irby, how about you? How can Seattle pull off the upset?
You made the joke about the Niners and how they're on quarterback number 10, running back number 40. The wide receivers have been about the same all the time, but it seems like
I didn't want to touch the running backs, man.
Yeah,
quarterbacks was enough.
It's a rotating door, but that's what's crazy is that we make that joke, but there's the efficiency's not changing. The offense is arguably getting better. It's next man up, and that's what San Francisco's done all season. Whereas Seattle, it's different. It's been the Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett season. Noah Fant, too. I mean, it's been those 5 all season long. Same guys, same thing. So it's nothing. The consistency there for Seattle is the good thing. And those are players that can make plays, especially Metcalf and Lockett. You give them an opportunity, they can make plays. And Geno Smith, crazy as it is, what was it, 4,200 plus passing yards, more than Russell Wilson ever had. I know they weren't over the greatest passing; they ran a lot, but that still was a weird stat of how he did that. But it's Seattle, that's what it is. It's the consistency. It's the same guys over and over again. It's these guys that have been on the same page all season long. Because when we start looking at the numbers you're talking about, and you look at the scoring differentials and the turnovers, and you constantly pull those charts up, and San Francisco's first, and then you have to scroll down a way to see Seattle. Those are the things you're okay, this is not good for them, and it's why it's a 9.5-point favorite in San Francisco's for San Francisco. Sorry, 9.5 points for San Francisco. But it's that core. It's the fact that it will be the same guys for the Seahawks. And not the worst to put it up again. I mean, Metcalf and Lockett both, again, 1,000-yard seasons. And they're two guys that can go for 150 plus and a couple scores. And that's how you stick around. And that's how you keep yourself close. And it's the formula they tried back on week 15, December 15th, where it's stick around, stay close. And then the last thing, it's the one that I always preach, and we'll hear it a lot in the postseason. If you can make teams get 3s instead of 6s, you can win football games in the playoffs.
All right. Let's pick this one. Samantha, who do you have? Seahawks or Niners?
49ers. This is a tough one to sell the underdog on. I just think the gap is too big. I think the 49ers and comfortably so.
Yeah. Irby, how about you?
Yeah, I'm taking San Francisco at home. The offense is clicking, and they're, unfortunately for teams, opponents against them, well, hopefully for them, they're getting healthy over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully they stay healthy.
All right, I am also taking the 49ers. Moving on, the Chargers are at the Jaguars. Samantha, now, I think we should start out. I point out right off the top. These teams obviously met in week 3, but that was a lifetime ago. These were both, I would say, different teams in week 3 than where they are as they finish the season. So I don't really think we could read too much into week 3. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a lot we can read in there. But what we can do is take a look at how each one of them got here. Because while they did their job, they each went on a run. They played some good football down the stretch. They won some games. It took some collapsing from competitive teams in their inner circle for them to be where they're at. I mean, do we dare say that the luck factor was high for both of these teams, Samantha? Is that where we're at here?
Oh, very much so. I mean, I think that it's a little bit slightly different cases. The Jaguars were colossally lucky. There's no doubt about that. Tennessee completely came apart, looked like they were actively trying to lose, and blew what was an enormous division lead that they should have been able to skate into the postseason so that they could, lose to the Chargers in round 1 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The point is that the Jaguars, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Doug Peterson or from that team as a whole, but they were extraordinarily lucky, and basically by not screwing up and watching someone else screw up, that's how they got there. Chargers, a little bit different because that's a team that has the talent. Absolutely. A lot of people thought they were going to win that division. I was not one of them. That's an incredibly talented roster. Whatever weird things, I know they're not in San Diego anymore, but I can't help but associate them with the Padres and these
Ouch.
teams that are perpetually hugely talented that find a way to somehow screw up whatever it is that's going on. They're dumb, right? They're super dumb. And so, how did the Chargers get here? I don't know. Maybe they just finally figured out how to kind of let the talent do its thing. Poor Justin Herbert, badly injured earlier in the season, and we thought, oh, well, this is it. Brandon Staley is a very smart man who speaks very eloquently and pretty much can't coach his way out of a paper bag. So
tell me how you really feel.
How did they get here? I don't know. By having an incredibly talented roster and not screwing up in the same way that they screwed up a year ago. What you see on paper from them, they should be a playoff team. But we're all kind of amazed that they are, right? Because we're used to the Chargers finding some way to create problems for themselves. So, is that lucky? Is it lucky when you screw everything up, no matter what you have, and then finally you don't screw it up? Is that luck? If we're calling that luck, then yes, then I would put them in the same category. But I think we're coming from a little bit of a different angle with these two in terms of how they got here, because the Chargers should be here, and yet we're amazed that they are, and the Jaguars shouldn't, and we're amazed that they are. But so a little bit different path, but definitely some luck involved, however you kind of define that under the current circumstances.
So, which one, before I toss this over to Irby, which one do you think is more capable of advancing? Is it the more talented Chargers squad, or is it the Doug Peterson coached Jaguars?
It should be the Chargers, but my trust level in the Chargers is like somewhere around 0. And I do trust Doug Peterson, even if I don't entirely trust the Jaguars. So I don't know. I don't know that I think this is a case where the more talented team wins. I don't trust the Chargers not to just screw everything up because that's what they do. It's like their entire personality. They've made their entire personality screwing up things that should be easy. That's how I feel about the Chargers.
Yeah.
And they don't have any fans, so I can say this freely and no one will get mad at me. So that's convenient too.
Irby, how about you? Any thoughts on this?
On who has the better chance? Is that what you want, or just the game in general here?
Yeah, who's more capable of advancing between these two?
And to set this up, because I'm gonna wear this one on the chin from you two, and I just want to set all our listeners up. I deserve this too, but yeah, I'm back on the Jaguars bandwagon. I'm readopting.
Of course you are.
Of course I am. Yeah, I'm taking it, and it's not because it has a lot to do with the opponents that's placed in front of Jacksonville, and that was Tennessee as one. It was the abomination of a season that we saw from Indianapolis and Houston, who both could be considered failures for different reasons, but those were terrible seasons. And because of that, Jacksonville survived, and they moved on. At least they have a winning record, right? Tampa Bay. But Chargers, there is talent. Yes. There are names on there. There are reasons to believe that this team should be competing deep into the playoffs. Absolutely. I'm calling fraud. I'm calling fraudulent team. Not Minnesota Vikings fraudulent, nowhere near that tier. That's a whole other tier.
Ouch.
But they played six teams this season that are in the postseason, and they went 1-5 in those games. The one win was a Tua-less Miami Dolphins. But I'm sorry. It's no. I look at this schedule. I look at how they won games, how they went about this season. Is the talent there that these guys can win? Absolutely. Absolutely, the talent is there that they can figure out a way to win this game Saturday night. Sure. Yeah. Herbert, Eckler, Williams, Allen, yeah, absolutely it's there. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying there's just been too many times this season with these guys that they can't beat a good team. They can't beat a playoff team. Sure, yeah, we got wins over Indianapolis, Arizona, Vegas. Whoop-de-doo. Sorry, whoop-de-crap.
Thank you.
Don't care. No, I'm calling fraud on the Chargers, and no, I don't think this is. No, I don't think they can do it.
All right, so Samantha, let's talk about these coaches real quick before we pick this one. On one hand, you've got the roster you mentioned with the Chargers, and you've got Brandon Staley, who we have questions about whether he's up to this challenge. But then you've got Doug Peterson, who's proven he can do this. He's proven he can coach his team up, but doesn't have the roster. Which one are you more concerned about here? Is it Brandon Staley and having a roster he doesn't know what to do with, or Doug Peterson, who knows what to do but doesn't quite have the roster?
I mean, if it was almost anyone other than Brandon Staley on the other end of it, I would probably say I was more concerned about the Jaguars because they're just not a very talented team. And while I think Doug is a good coach, he's not a Bill Belichick, a guy who's like, I don't need talent. I just need people who can follow instructions. Like, that's not Doug Peterson. But he's a very good coach. I will say this. I don't think he's going to be the reason that they lose. So if you flip that over and you look at Staley and you go, there's like an outstanding chance that he will be the reason that his team loses, because he's like, I mean, I love listening to him talk. He gives wonderful speeches, right? Like, he's going to have a great career as like a motivational speaker or a, I don't know, guy who waxes eloquent about football someday. He would be great in a booth. But like, he makes horrifically bad in-game decisions. And he makes the same horrifically bad in-game decisions over and over, which would imply that he's not really learning anything. It's like, a year ago when this was happening, you're going, okay, this is a first-time head coach. Like, he's definitely setting himself up as like a little bit of a cowboy. All of this, we're going for it on fourth down, even when in the modern era, we would still say it was a terrible idea to go for it on 4th down. Like, okay, good for you. We get it. You're very brave. You'll learn. He hasn't learned anything. We're a year later, and we're still seeing really, really bad in-game decision-making. He takes chances when you should play it safe, and he plays it safe when you should take chances. And he has too much talent for his team to have performed as poorly as they do. So it's, Peterson's hands are tied in a way that Staley's are not. But I also don't think Doug Peterson is going to coach his way out of a playoff win. And there's a very good chance that Brandon Staley will do that.
Irby, how about you? Staley with the roster or Peterson without it?
I'll say Chargers coached themselves out of a playoff appearance last year, so got that. I'm taking Peterson's position here because yes, it is not nearly as talented of a roster, but it's a roster that's bought in. It's a organization that's been pushing for this, that found that rhythm. I mean, where they were earlier in this season. At times feeling just embarrassed about the way they were playing and how they're playing today, how they're playing right now. I like the direction that Jacksonville is going, and it's not going to be a Super Bowl appearance or anything like that. Like let's not say anything about these guys are ready to take on the Chiefs or the Bills or anything like that. But this is a team, a whole team that absolutely, especially at home, absolutely can take on the Chargers and beat the Chargers.
It is worth noting that Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl, and the top 2 quarterbacks on his roster were Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. So I'll toss that out there. I would take Trevor Lawrence over both those guys.
And this is why we trust Doug Peterson to not screw up, right? Because
Exactly.
if you can survive with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles and beat the Patriots in the end, respect, man. I'm tipping my cap. I respect Dougie very much.
All right, let's pick this one. Samantha, who do you have here, Chargers or Jaguars?
Oh, the Jaguars. I think it's relatively rare when there's this big of a talent disparity to see it not go in favor of the more talented team. But if there were ever a situation where that would be true, it would be a guy like Doug Peterson who just shines in these kind of moments going up against the Chargers, who are incredibly creative in the depth and breadth of ways that they find to lose football games that they should win.
That's where if Doug Peterson goes on another run like he did a few years ago with the Eagles, I'm just going to give up. Just you know what? I don't care who. Just go where you want to go. Anyone should want this guy to be the head coach. Irby, how about you? Chargers or Jaguars?
Yeah, I'm taking Jacksonville as well. I like where they're at. I mean, compared to where they are a year ago, you got to love where Jacksonville's at, and everybody associated with the Jaguars loves where they're at compared to a year ago. So huge comeback there. Your biggest issue last week is they really couldn't stop Derrick Henry. Fortunately, this week, you don't play Derrick Henry. So, right. Yes, I like Jacksonville at home.
It's almost like they tossed Urban Meyer off the ship, and now the ship is stabilized. The seas are calm, and they're back in the playoffs. I'm also taking Jacksonville. I like how Jacksonville's coming into the playoffs. Nothing against the Chargers, but Jacksonville just seems like the hot hand to me. So, sticking with them. All right, one more before we get into the time capsule. Samantha, we have the Giants are at the Vikings. I think this is a funny matchup of the week. Am I wrong? This is the one that I just want to enjoy for the entertainment value, not so much the football value.
My Chaos Goblin soul, which has been very deprived this football season. We have not had a lot of fun this football season. We have not had a lot of opportunities to Chaos Goblin. Mm-hmm. This is the ultimate Chaos Goblin matchup. It's the Vikings and the Giants. It's hilarious. I just start laughing as soon as every time I think about the matchup, I just start laughing. I mean, the potential for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins are probably the first 2 quarterbacks you would pick if you were who might do something that's stupid and hilarious in a postseason game? take every team, including the ones that have been eliminated. Those are the first two people you mentioned. Like, it's tremendous. I'm so excited about this game. I hope that it's a disaster. I hope that it is terrible. And by terrible, I mean amazing. Like, I am so excited for this game. Like, I have not been very excited about football at all this year for a lot of reasons. Like, I don't know. Like, I had to abandon my hometown team because they're monsters. And then, like, later a dude almost died on the field. It's not been a great season, right? But, like, Giants, Vikings, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones in the playoffs, like, this makes me happy. This is restored joy in football for me. I am very excited about this. I cannot wait for this game.
Irby, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, chaos-wise, yes. This could be fun. Let's get and these two, 3 weeks ago played each other, and that's one where we can look at it. Let's get another one like that. That was a 13-10 Giants lead at the end of 3, and all kind of hell broke loose in the last 3 minutes. If you remember this, the Vikings scored to go up 8. The Giants, it only took them a minute to go 75 yards, score the touchdown, get the 2. Mm-hmm. They left too much time on the clock. The click. And Greg, the click. Whew. It's chaos.
It's the Vikings.
Chaos.
It's the Vikings.
Yeah, it's the And as time expired, Greg Joseph made a 61-yard field goal. So yeah, let's have another one of those. Because this is two teams that, if they're playing pretty much anyone else in the NFC, we're picking against both of them, and that's what's fun about this, because this is not the regular season anymore. We're into the postseason, and somebody walks away with a W. That's what's wonderful about this. That what you could say all the things about these teams and the records and all blah blah blah. One of these two teams walks away with a W come Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening.
All right, let's talk about the Giants here, Samantha, for a second before we actually try to pick this matchup, which is going to be fun. The one thing that kind of bugged me about Week 18 was the New York Giants, because it wasn't too long ago, just a few weeks ago, where the Commanders' stock was up, the Giants' stock was down. We were very close to writing the Giants' obituary for this season. Very close to doing that. They turn it around. They go on a run. They clinch a playoff spot, probably helped by the fact that Washington started Carson Wentz, but that's neither here nor there. They go on a run. They stabilize. They start playing the type of football where you could go walk into Minnesota and maybe upset the Vikings. And then Week 18, they take their foot off the gas. Why didn't they treat that like a playoff game? Because I'll tell you right now, had they actually done that, had they treated it like a playoff game and played the players they should have played, because I don't know if you noticed, but Daniel Jones isn't exactly a finished product. Like, he still needs some work before he gets into some postseason play. So, had they done that, I might have picked them here. And a lot of people might have picked them here because the Vikings just look like a soft team to me. And a soft team. But the Giants didn't do that. Instead, they take their foot off the gas. I'm expecting a flat Giants team. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm expecting a flat Giants team. What do you think, Samantha? Did they make a mistake there? Should they have rested people like they did, or should they have just played it like a playoff game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally convinced that the Giants can't find a way to win this football game. But I do agree with you that, like, I think that this idea of must rest your starters if you have, quote unquote, nothing to play for has gone too far. I'm not sure that the inability to change your seating means you have nothing to play for. I mean, we saw who did it. It was 2 years ago. Pittsburgh did this 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, couldn't improve their seating, couldn't change their matchup. They felt they were overconfident about facing a kind of upstart Browns team in the postseason, and they rested all of their starters in the last week of the regular season, and they got embarrassed by a Browns team that really wasn't very good a week after that in the postseason. And that's what I'm worried about. And I kind of like feel like we need to get away from this idea that you have nothing to play for just because you can't change your seating, because I think you're absolutely right. I think there was a really good reason to keep the starters on the field. Like, the fact that you can't change your season doesn't mean you have nothing to play for. I think it matters. And I don't know that they're like the kind of team, I will be honest and say I would be more worried about this if it was one of those teams that you feel like has trouble motivating itself. We've certainly seen that. I mean, my guy Dallas comes to mind here.
Oh yeah.
They scare me more than anyone in that capacity. But the Giants are like not exactly at the top of my list. Like, they're not exactly firing, right? Like, it's not like you could probably take all, I don't know, the Bills starters off the field in week 18, even if they were in a similar situation, and say, hey, I think they can kind of leave that a week later. Or a Belichick team where it's like, okay, we're just following instructions. Like, this is just business. This is the business that Bill is conducting right now. Next week, we will get it done. I don't know that I trust the Giants to be able to do that. And while I really like Brian Dable, and I think he does a lot of things really well as a first-time coach, I don't know that he's not Dan Campbell. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just jump out of bed and want to run through a wall for this guy. And I worry about that. So I think I have a different opinion on how this game is going to turn out than you do, but I agree with you that I think that was a mistake.
Irby, anything you want to add there before we pick this one?
No, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I get it. I get the resting. But I'm not a fan of how New York went about it, because there's something between resting and there's something between getting ready for the postseason. Look at what happened the week prior with Tennessee when they had the game against Dallas. I know this is a different situation, but the point is the same. A game against Dallas where it's like it did not matter what happened in that game. They just had to win the next week. So what did they do? They didn't rest everybody. They rested the hurt. They rested the injured, the ones that, he's questionable, game time decision. No, that's who's sitting. That's what I'd like to see for the Giants. The players that needed to sit. The players that needed it's, hey, we need you to get 100% because we're about winning, in the postseason. Not essentially everybody. And I know it wasn't everybody. But, yes, I don't like the take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit going into meaningful games, because now it's one and done time.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great point, too. And I wanted to bring that up as well. I'm glad you did, because I wasn't thinking about it. But, you want to rest Saquon Barkley? Sure. Absolutely. 100% get it. But that's not really how this went. Like, they just kind of yanked all their starters. Like, why was Daniel Jones not on the field? I have questions.
Well, I mean, at least play him for a half.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be out there the whole game.
Yeah.
Get
them some reps. Get them some reps.
I understand. Yeah, sure. Barkley on a snap count, of course.
Yeah.
But, why? Don't love it.
All right, let's pick this one. Samantha, who do you have here? You have the Giants, you have the Vikings.
I'm still going to take the Giants, even though I am deeply concerned about everything that you just mentioned. It's just that I'm also deeply concerned about a lot of the things that are going on with the Vikings, like that they appear to be cratering in the second half of the season, that they really haven't played anyone. The Giants have played a much tougher schedule, and the Giants have been on a better trajectory recently, even if you sort of throw out the fact that they really, really kind of phoned it in Week 18. So, I don't know. I don't trust the Vikings. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I don't really trust the Giants either. And I mean, let's be honest, it's a chaos ball, right? Like, before the point, we don't know what's going to happen here. Somebody might fall down on the 1 yard line and trip over their own helmet and fumble it, and then somebody will return it 99 yards, and that would be the difference in the game. Very possible in a situation like this, but I don't know. I still feel like the vibes are worse for the Vikings than they are for the Giants. And that's how you have to pick games like this, right? Who's got the worst vibes? There's no logical way that you can't apply logic to something like this. So, I had bad vibes on the Vikings, so I'm going to take the Giants.
Irby, how about you?
Chaos Bowl. Hopefully, Samantha, I like your how we're going, how that ended. I like that ending. That's a good one. Maybe we end with a safety. That would be a fun difference maker. 1 point, just flip it 1 point to 1 point for the safety.
Or the Dan Orlovsky. Like, can't you see either one of these quarterbacks would do that, running out of the back of the zone? Either one of them.
Yeah, that's definitely how this sneaks in. So with all that said, I threw it at you guys yesterday. This is chaos. Add to the Chaos Bowl. There's a decent chance, especially if this game is low scoring, that the winner will still have a negative in the point differential this season because both teams allowed more points than they scored this season. New York is a -6, Minnesota's a -3. So with all that said, Minnesota is going to win this by 2 or 1 point, so they stay in the negative because I don't know. I just for me, chaos here. We can go back and forth. I'm going to just put Justin Jefferson's the difference for me and why Minnesota's able to sneak out a win in the Chaos Bowl.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Vikings for the reasons I was talking about just a few minutes ago. I think Minnesota's going to take this because the Giants are going to come out flat. The Giants might be able to come back a little bit as the game progresses, but they're going to start out flat, and they only have themselves to blame for it. It's unnecessary what they did here. All right, well that sets the Super Wild Card round of the playoffs for everybody. Let's hop back into that time capsule. This is of course my week, so we're going to have some fun. In February 1st, 2009, the Pittsburgh Steelers became the first NFL team to record their 6th Super Bowl victory, a feat that was matched by the Patriots like 2 years later. So let's hop back into 2009. Let's stick with the champions. So obviously the Steelers won the Super Bowl. Who won the World Series that year, guys? 2009.
Let's see. So this would have been the Phillies and the Yankees.
Yep, that's correct.
So the Yankees.
Last time they've won.
Gave you an easy one. We're kicking off the new year of the time capsule, so I'll give you guys an easy one to start off with. All right, how about the NBA Finals? Who won the finals in 2009? Of course, this will be the culmination of the 2008-2009 season.
Well, I mean, that's what
Lakers.
Yeah, I was saying guess Lakers because this is in the height of Kobe's. But
that's correct.
And they probably won it too. They didn't just get there; they won it. But who
they play?
Stan Van Gundy. Orlando.
There it is.
Oh, well done.
Got the coach and everything. Very, very.
And that's
very
what I remembered about it. I just couldn't. I was like, I know Stan Van Gundy was there. Who was he coaching? The Magic. Okay.
All right, the 2009 Stanley Cup Final. You guys want to take a stab at that one?
No clue.
This was a real fun one. This one went 7 games. Irby, how about you?
So this is the beginning, 09. I'm trying to think. Like this is this is when the Sharks were really good. But I don't. Stars weren't good back then. Who else was on the East side? Boston was good. Jersey was good. Pittsburgh was good. Vancouver was good. Somewhere in those guys. One of them?
You did get one of them. In fact, you got the champion.
Okay.
You got the champion. In 2009, the Pittsburgh Penguins defeated the Detroit Red Wings in 7 games.
Oh, that's back when the Red Wings were still over on that side.
Yeah. 7-game series, which is the best Stanley Cup.
So that's at the. Wow, this is like the transition. So Sidney Crosby would have been a youngster on that team. That's back during their run.
New strategy for Stanley Cup. I'm just going to do what you did, which is to name 50% of the NHL.
That's not a bad strategy, Samantha. That's really not.
Since I don't know anything.
Here are the teams that were kind of good. Was it one of them? Yes. Sweet. We're in the ballpark.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. That'll wrap up sports. So some cool things happened and some not so cool things happened. Here's some top moments from the year 2009. Hannah Montana the movie hit theaters in 2009. Glee and Modern Family aired their first episodes in 2009. Wow. In the world of technology, obviously this is 2009, so we're not going to have anything like Windows 3.1, which is always going to be fun. Facebook launched his Farmville in June of 2009. The King of Pop, Michael Jackson, said goodbye to him on June 25th, 2009. And I know everyone's going to remember this. I didn't remember that it was 2009 until I pulled this up. But this was also the year of an incident at the VMAs where Kanye West interrupts one Taylor Swift while she was accepting her Video of the Year award.
That was 14 years ago?
2009.
Oh.
2009. Now, the rest of this stuff is mostly things we're about to get into with music and movies. But this is the problem. I'm going to leave you guys with this. This is the one that kind of got me. This is also technology. In the year 2009, Sony sold 12 million floppy disks. And then in 2010, stopped selling them altogether. So they sell 12 million.
There were still discs in 2009?
2009.
Like, where did one put them?
I don't know.
I don't remember having a computer that was...
That's the same thing Sony finally asked. Where are people putting these?
They sold 12.
What does one do with it?
Oh, you know what? It always got me with those computer disks. Is like the really big ones were known as the 3.5s. The floppy disks weren't floppy, but the big ones were. Did that get anybody else? Because that always got. I was always confused.
Oh,
about that.
Yeah. But what I thought was a hard disk was actually a floppy disk because it was not floppy, but the bigger ones were floppy, which didn't make any sense.
Right. All right, and of course, in December of 2009, The Jersey Shore premiered on MTV in December of 2009. Okay, so let's have some.
I got married in 2009.
Yes, you did.
Do you have that one on your list?
I did not. I should have. Don't tell Amy.
Amy go to the Jersey Shore.
Don't she rat me out, dude.
I did not. No, thanks for bringing it up, Bo. Good job. Yeah. No, we did not. We went to Wyoming. We're actually this summer taking the kids back to the same place where we did our honeymoon, taking out the Yellowstone and going out there whitewater rafting and dodging wolves and bears. It's gonna be a blast.
All right, let's take a run at some. Let's do music first. Top 10 Billboard singles from the year 2009. Look at you, Samantha. This is always your main event.
Okay, so I'm thinking that just because we know what happened at the VMAs that year, that's probably going to give us some clues. Mm-hmm. There's got to be there would be a Taylor Swift. I don't know if actually, there's probably a Kanye too, because
well, there would be a Beyonce as well, because wasn't that the
Single Ladies probably. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm thinking Taylor Swift. So this is going to be Fearless. So that'll be Love Story and You Belong With Me.
Okay, Love Story checks in at number 5. You Belong With Me checks in at number 11.
Oh,
so you got one of the top 10 there.
Was Single Ladies on there too?
Single Ladies in the top 10?
That was number 8 in 2009.
Okay, and is there a Kanye?
There is a Kanye, checks in at number 9. Do you know which song?
I know which album. I don't know if I know which song. Geez. So this is going to be. This is before. Wait, are we talking? This is before like Power and all that, right? So this is the album before that. So I guess that would be what, like, oh, jeez. I had to, you guys, we had to cancel Kanye. I don't listen to it anymore because he had to be canceled because he's crazy and he loves Hitler. What was on that album? I can see the cover of it. I know exactly what it looks like. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to come up with this. I'm sure I would know it if you told it to me. But
Irby, you have any guesses on this one?
No.
All right. I'll pick that up then. I'll pick that up when I'm going through the rest. If you guys don't get them. Okay. What other hints can I give you? I will say this: that number one surprised the hell out of me. A popular band back in 2009 that kind of fizzled. Really
band?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has,
Band.
yeah, they haven't. It was a pop artist, but they haven't done much in the last handful of years. Like they exploded onto the scene and then kind of fizzled out.
In just 2009, or did they explode for at least a second year?
Oh, I think they were around for a couple years, but it's not a group that I think of much anymore.
Everything I can think of from around that time is a solo artist. This is interesting because I have some guesses, but none of them are a band.
It's a group. It is a group.
Wait. No, I might know. It's that stupid song that people play at weddings.
That doesn't. You gotta narrow that down.
Bar mitzvahs. The Black Eyed Peas song. I Got a Feeling.
You got the artist.
Oh.
Okay. All right. That is number 4. I Got a Feeling. Black Eyed Peas. The Black Eyed Peas also had the number 1 track from
They have
2000.
another song.
Yeah. See? So I told you they fizzled.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure I've heard it, but I don't know what it is.
I actually hadn't heard of it either until I saw this list. Irby, any guesses there? Black Eyed Peas.
No. I'm trying to think at that same time. No.
No. Okay, the number 1 track from 2009 was Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, gross.
I think I'd block that out.
Can we do another song quick? I'm going to have that in my head now.
That was not a good band, guys. That was not a good band. Yeah, let's...
I thought they were called a band.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. Are we really calling that a band? Is that fair? Yeah. I don't know about that.
Oh, man.
Right. So there's really only a couple more I want you guys to try to guess before I just tell the rest of the top 10. Checking in at both 2 and 3. Same artist.
I'm almost positive I know who this is going to be.
Same artist. She actually appeared in the top 100 chart 4 times at 2, 3, 35, and 53.
It's got to be Lady Gaga, right?
It is Lady Gaga. Now let's see if you can get the order. What was number 2?
Oh, well, the first, Poker Face would have to be
Yep, that's number 2. Yep.
And then the next one's either going to be Just Dance or Paparazzi.
Just Dance checks in at number 3.
All right.
And you already got I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas at number 4. Love Story by Taylor Swift at number 5. Number 6 is the last one. I think the best hint I can give you without totally giving it away. It was one of those. It was a prominent song in the first Hangover movie.
I hate that movie.
Ooh, you're the first person I've ever heard say that.
It's so stupid. Oh, you know what though? I think I know the answer to this.
What is it?
It's Flow Rider. Isn't it Flow Rider?
It is.
It's the
Oh, wow.
I can't remember the name of the song, but it might come to me. It's the one where Kesha's the uncredited vocalist on it because she wasn't famous yet at that point.
Right.
It's a riff on an old song.
Yes.
Right Round.
Right Round. There it is. That was number 6.
Nice.
All right. Number 7 was "I'm Yours" by Jason. I can't pronounce his last name. Mraz.
Oh, Jason Mraz.
Mraz.
Oh, I
Not a good song.
did say it right. Okay, good. Number 8, again, "Single Ladies Put a Ring on It" by Beyonce. Number 9, "Heartless" by Kanye West. Number 10, real quick, let's see if you can get it. It's the one alternative track in the top 10. It's the only one. Everything else is hip hop. Alternative rock, number 10.
Tell you a lot about 2009 right there.
Yes, it does.
Alternative rock?
Yeah, it's one of those. It's kind of a holdover from the early or the late 90s, early 2000s alternative rock bands.
Alternative rock.
Like they played then, or they were still.
No, it's kind of the last bit of this genre before it started to give way.
So are we talking about a true alt rock band, or are we talking about emo or pop punk?
Ooh, good question. I also don't know the answer to that question. I'll let you know once we get it cleared here. Any ideas?
No.
All right.
I would need. Oh, give me a hint.
I don't really have any more hints I can give you on this song. I don't know it that well. I just know this. I can hear the chorus. All right, how about I'm gonna give you the artist, you give me the song. How's that?
Oh, okay.
All right, the artist is the All American Rejects.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So pop punk then, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
Is
I've
too
got the
late
song.
What's
Too late for Swing Swing. That was earlier.
Yeah.
It's Gives You Hell.
That's it.
Gives you hell. Yes.
All right, that's our top 10.
Well done, Samantha. You earned yourself another bye week.
I told you guys I have one skill. My one special skill. I don't really have any other skills, but I have this skill.
Okay.
Although I didn't get the.
That's your superhero thingy right there. That's your thingy.
That is my thingy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird Billboard Top 100 recall. Like.
All right, guys. One more. Let's get into the movies real quick. We got about 5-ish minutes or so to spend on this before we got to get out of here. So, domestic box office top grossing films from 2009. I'm going to tell you right now. There's a lot of movies in here that you're going to know. There's some you're not, and there's actually some surprises on where they rank in 2009. So. What do you guys,
okay.
What do you want to start guessing with here to get to this top 10?
Well, low hanging fruit. One of them's got to be The Hangover, right?
The Hangover.
There you go.
Based on the musical.
The Hangover checks in at number
earlier.
6. Yeah. The Hangover is number 6.
09. We're still with the Harry Potters.
Yeah.
There
so
is
which
Harry Potter.
That would be
Hallows 1 or is it Half-Blood Prince?
2000.
No, it's
that's Half-Blood Prince. Because the 1 and 2 were in the 10. It was a 10, 11, or 11, 12. Yeah. Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, Half-Blood
This would also be Avatar should be there.
All right, so
Yeah.
let me catch up here. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is number 2 in 2009.
Yeah.
Avatar, number 5 in 2009.
So Avatar, that was a December release.
It was December 18th, and it
Okay.
still checks in at number 5.
2 weeks and they get to number 5. Yeah.
I do not understand the appeal of those movies.
2 weeks, and it grossed $283 million in 2 weeks. It finished, by the way, as the top grossing film of all time at $749 million. So that's why.
I wonder why I think people have no taste.
Soon to be broken by itself, right?
Ugh,
Oh, probably.
why?
Probably.
People.
So,
Oh.
more cringeworthy. Aren't we still in the middle of the Twilight movies during this time?
There
Or
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a Twilight film on here. I actually thought I was going to give that to you guys.
I don't know what any of them are called, though.
No, I don't either.
Twilight.
I just knew it was at that time.
But you're right. That's the timing of it. Yeah.
If you could tell me the options of the names, I might get it.
I tell you what, I'm going to give you guys credit for this because you actually remembered a Twilight movie because I wouldn't have. Number 4 in 2009 was the Twilight Saga: New Moon.
I wonder which one that is. No,
Which one is that? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Twilight. I just know it's weird vampires that didn't have fangs. That's what I know about Twilight.
Yep.
They had no fangs. Seems weird.
All right.
But okay.
No.
I got one too that's a big favorite of my wife, but it may not make the top 10. Because she will watch anything by this actor in this type of movie. That would be the first of the Taken movies.
Oh, the timing seems right for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I remember us going to see that before getting married.
Yeah.
She's the number one Taken fan, isn't she? Isn't she the one that will watch like all the ones, even the
Anything Liam Neeson. Even the ones he's coming up with now. Like he's 72 years old, dating a 30-year-old, and acting like he's 20. Jumping through buildings. I'm gonna pay for that.
Okay, I don't respect that.
Taken was number 18.
Yeah, I figured it probably didn't do as good.
Okay.
And the thing is, it needed the whole year to get there because it premiered January 30th.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing that before we got married. Okay, so we've got to get some animated stuff in here too.
What about a Fast and Furious? There's got to be one of those.
There's probably a Fast and Furious in there.
Yeah, there is, in fact, a Fast and Furious. It was number 15, and there's not a number after it. Was that the original one? Was that the first one in this saga?
No.
No,
Can't
this is
be.
not like the third.
No, the first was 2001.
Right.
The first was 2001.
Yeah,
Later.
I don't have a number.
No, this should be. I think it might be 4. Because 1 and 2 were together, then the third was that Tokyo Drift that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Totally new people. And then they took a pause before going through like this set.
Fast 5.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's got to be 4. That makes sense.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is Fast and Furious, not the Fast and the Furious. So Fast and Furious must be
Because that's not confusing at all.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, it only got me here.
I do like those though. I mean, they're stupid, but I like them.
It's number 15.
2000. So 2009 is also before any of the Marvel universe started, unless it's an Iron Man in there.
What about X-Men? No, but
X-Men would have been wrapping up. Yeah, we were still getting some of the original.
No, the original trilogy was over in like 2000.
Right, but they had done another
like the newer ones.
Yes, because they did a few of those, and then. I don't think I want to say Iron Man was 2011, but it was right in here for
later. I'm thinking Wolverine. Didn't that come before Iron Man?
I'm not seeing.
Yes,
Wolverine
that stuff was
Iron Man. Yeah, I'm not seeing either one.
Okay.
Of those.
I don't know. We may have the wrong year on that. I'm not sure I would be able to pin those down.
But I do want to go. So, do we have any of these animated? Like, there's got to be a Pixar in here. We're still in the middle of.
There's an animated Disney at 3. Avatar basically is animated, but that's neither here nor there.
No, but like, what's the other studio? DreamWorks. DreamWorks.
There's 2 DreamWorks films in here. One of them was number 1. The other one is number 8. Number 8 wasn't animated. Number 9. 8 and 9 are so you've got 3 animated.
Let's see. So it's too early for Toy Story 3.
Mm-hmm.
So what came before that? It's too late for like those ones about bugs that I didn't understand.
That was Up.
Thank you. Up was number 3.
Yes. Yes.
That one. Okay.
Up was number 3.
Incredibly.
What about Wall-E?
So.
No, not on my list.
No. There would have been 2 Pixars. Right? Was there 2 Disney? They never went head-to-head against each other.
No, I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. I just know it's from around that time. But
yes.
Yeah, there's no one.
It's probably not the same.
Oh! What was the other animated? The boys started watching the Ice Age movies.
There is an Ice Age movie. It's number 9.
Okay.
I don't know what any of those are. I've never seen them.
Yes.
Do you know which
I
one?
was not a big fan. No.
All right.
I know it was that time. But
Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs is number 9.
Couldn't even tell you what order I'm in. Probably not the first one.
Is this a year of The Blind Side?
The Blind Side is number 10.
Yes.
Woo! Well done.
Okay,
Number
good.
10.
All right.
I thought I was going
All
to give you
right.
that one too. All right.
Okay.
So you still need the number one grossing movie. You need
Oh,
one.
man, we don't have number 1.
Yeah, you need number
Jesus.
1, number 7, and number 8.
1, 7, and 8. Okay. And how many of these are animated?
Number 8 was animated. Number 7 is a reboot. Number 1 is a sequel.
Oh boy. Okay. What would have
Okay,
been a
wait,
sequel around this time? Or a reboot? Oh, I think I know what the reboot is. Is it Star Trek?
It is Star Trek, number 7.
Oh, that was
Star Trek,
wow.
But I remember fairly specifically where I was sitting in a bar when someone told me about it and tried to sell it to me.
Hey, that reboot did good for a couple movies,
It did.
and then they blew up their own ship on the third one, and didn't make any more.
Well, they blew up their ship.
Yeah, exactly. No, not figuratively. Okay, so we're still missing number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah, I look at this thing. You said it was a sequel. Okay, so
It's a sequel.
Right? So
Not animated.
Not
wow,
animated.
not animated and a sequel. Luke was already
Sequel.
knocked out all
Was
the
it-
things I can think of.
Was it one of those? Is it a comedy?
No, it's an action movie.
Action movie. Oh man.
I have a hint I can give you, but I don't want to give it to you yet.
I have
Give
it.
it away.
Okay, I've got a guess, and it's really kind of makes 2009 seem a lot sadder than it probably was.
Mm.
I'm hoping this is the 8, not the 1. Oh, you said the 8 was animated. Dang it!
Right.
Wow. It would have been Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
That would be the number 1 film of
Golly!
Oh, I've never seen any of those. Okay.
Like Star Trek, the first couple were good, and then it just kind of went to hell after that.
Yes, this was the second one.
I think
No.
No, first one was like
This was the
2000.
third. The first one was good. Like the first one, I felt like I was a kid watching cartoons again,
Yeah.
and then they quickly ran out of story, but still made 3 more. There's another one coming out this year, by the way.
Why?
Yeah, I saw that. All right.
Yeah. Ugh.
Any guesses for number 8? The animated
Oh
film?
man. Who's what studio is this?
DreamWorks.
Oh boy, these are the ones I don't know. Uh-oh.
So this is this is all after the Shreks.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't
and it's
started
not like
the.
Puss in Boots or anything.
No, we hadn't done any of those. This is before Minions and
Yeah. Despicable.
Despicable Me. Right? It's not Despicable Me. This is.
Is this I think too early for that? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen
It's
it.
not that.
Okay.
Wow.
So this is before. Then this.
No clue.
Can you like voices?
No,
That might get away.
Do voices?
No. Who are the voices and who are the actors?
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you were asking him to do the voices of the talking.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say no.
You can. I know.
All right, well, hang on. Let's see. No, that's not. It's not going to give me what I need.
I feel like we have to know this, but I don't have
Yeah.
a clue.
I can't remember because DreamWorks kind of struggled after the Shreks and before the Despicable Me's.
That's what I'm afraid of. Is this like going to be one of those things that like no one saw? It's clearly someone saw it if it's in the top 10. But wow, yeah. You know what? I have no idea. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this.
Wait, is it the How to Train Your Dragons?
It is
Oh.
not. No.
Ah,
That was cute. I did see that. That was cute.
dang.
In your defense, for both of you, it wasn't one of the well-known ones. Number 8, DreamWorks Monsters vs. Aliens.
I've never heard of that. Is it real? You sure it's a real movie?
Yes, it is. We've watched that one at the house.
By
Looks
the,
like this
is
is
it-
Carlos Correa.
Seth Rogen's a voice in that.
oh God. By the way, Samantha, I overlooked this. Wolverine was number 11.
Okay.
So you were
Never
correct
saw it, but
with
I thought
Wolverine.
the timing was okay.
Some other notables in here. The disaster movie 2012 was number 14.
Yeah,
No,
2012
I've never
came out
heard
in
of that.
2009. Love. Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, love that movie. Love the. That's such a terrible story, but the destruction is amazing.
It really is.
I do not like disaster movies.
Number 17 was Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Never seen that.
Number 19.
Have heard of that though.
And again, this was because this looks like it's because it was a December release, but Gran Torino was number 19.
Whoa!
Don't know what that is. Wow,
that's what that he won. That's the Clint Eastwood. That won a lot of the Oscars, didn't it?
It did, and it did.
That was a big Oscar year for them.
Didn't even know he was still alive. Cool.
He still is today. Still directing movies.
How old is he? Like 200? Like what?
He's in his 90s.
Carlos Correa's leg. I don't believe he's alive. Here we are again.
Yeah, but Clint Eastwood probably would pass the physical before Correa.
That is fair. That is fair.
The version of A Christmas Carol, the animated version with Jim Carrey as a voice, was number 20.
Never seen that.
Terminator Salvation was number 22, and Inglourious Bastards was number 25.
So whatever I was doing this year, it clearly wasn't going to the movies.
Slumdog Millionaire was number 27.
Oh, there's the big one. Okay, so that's the one that won Best Picture.
That didn't
over Grand Prix. Yeah.
An Oscar, although again, didn't see.
Yeah.
It.
Wow.
So yeah, 2009, guys.
Good job, Bo. Good stuff.
It's an interesting year.
Also, I was right on the Clint Eastwood will be turning 93 this year.
Still not sure I believe he's still alive, but okay. But I do believe he could pass a physical before Carlos Correa, whether he's alive or not.
Well, that's
doesn't need to be alive for that.
That's a gift. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We're out of here. Until next week, it's playoff time, and you know what you got to do this weekend. You also need to, while you're listening, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Let us know how you like us on Twitter. You know, all the fun stuff. Help us out with that algorithm so we can reach more podcast people. Until next week, enjoy that football weekend.